Good morning, and I'd also like to extend a very warm welcome to all conference delegates and to speakers here with us this morning, including obviously the panel that you see before you. My name is Carolyn Mackenzie, and I'm delighted to have been asked to chair this first session that will focus on the role of women in business and trade. I've been based in Ottawa now for about 22 years. And I've worked for those years as a management consultant. I focused myself mostly on the planning and development of infrastructure in the transport and power sectors, which effectively means I spent a lot of time being the only woman at the table much of the time, so this is a very looking out on the sea of faces. This is very refreshing and very different for me, and it's a very interesting context of women coming together, and men obviously as well, which is great. Much of my time has been spent on developing projects in Africa, and in the process really working to bring Canadian expertise in rail and ports to both public and private sector clients in many African countries. In this context of professional services, which has been my focus, I learned the importance of developing strong relationships with firms as well as specialized individual consultants in country, as well as international firms, regional firms and so on, in an effort to build technical teams that would meet the needs of our clients, as well as to assist in adapting approaches that would be effective to adapt to regional and local context in which we worked, as well, of course, to help navigate local business customs and practices. These relationships were also an important way for us to innovate, to develop new ideas as to how to work smarter, faster, and more responsibly for our clients. Many good ideas that could be applied to the consulting business were those that we borrowed from others, modified, improved upon, and we hoped in the process created greater value for our clients. That sort of reminds me of a joke about management consultants. If you don't know it, I'll tell you about it later. In any case, this idea of sharing of information, of sharing of our experience is certainly not new to women. In fact, in most contexts, I think it generally comes quite naturally to many of us. However, I think it's very important to encourage in the context of promoting women in business and trade. And so in that vein, I believe this conference is very important as a way of initiating, facilitating, and indeed nurturing the relationships that are so important for women to develop successful business models, to increase trade, and simply to encourage investment in good ideas, which I think this is what this conference is all about. This morning we're very fortunate to have a panel of very accomplished businesswomen and entrepreneurs. They're really going to set the stage in the next hour or so by telling their own stories and to share with us some of their own experience. So I'm very pleased to present to you our panel here this morning. First we have Janet Nkubana of Gahaya Links from Rwanda, Leda Miara of DG Smart Contractor from Morocco, Mamadapani Rukawani, President of the Federation of Lesotho Women's Entrepreneurs, Prisha Mufumara of Victoria Foods from Zimbabwe, and at the end of the panel, Suzanne Stevens of Wisdom Exchange TV of Canada. Now, rather than introduce each of them further here, and in the interest of time, I'm going to ask each of them really to introduce themselves and their area of business as part of their presentations. And in doing so, I think they're going to draw upon their own stories and discuss what they see of the role of women in business and trade, the challenges that they've faced, the solutions they've developed to really meet those challenges. And as well as the obstacles that they still see in place, and areas that perhaps we can work on together in discussing and finding solutions for. And I think we'll all benefit a lot by hearing those stories. Now, we don't have a lot of time, so I've asked them each to to try and limit their comments to about 10 minutes, which I know is awfully difficult when you have a lot of experience behind you. But as I said to each of them, this is really just a way of getting a conversation started, and then hopefully there'll be time in between sessions. We can all continue that conversation. We're also very fortunate to have Suzanne Stevens, and I'm positioning her, what she'll be presenting, a little bit different. As I said, she's the president of Wisdom Exchange TV here in Canada. She's an entrepreneur in her own right. Suzanne has interviewed over 60 pioneering African women entrepreneurs, and I believe she's interviewed at least a few that are here with us today. So that's quite interesting. She'll close out the presentations in this session by sharing the insights that she's gained regarding the strengths of and the opportunities for female entrepreneurs. She's also going to discuss successful leadership attributes and also what it takes to conduct business from an entrepreneurial perspective. So I think that's going to be quite an interesting way to close out this session. Following the presentations, time permitting, and I hope we will have some time. We'll have some time for questions and answers from each of the members of the panel. So, without further ado, I'm going to ask our IT people, wherever they may be, to bring up the presentation of Janet Nkubana of Gahaya Links, and we'll get started to make the presentation. Thank you very much. Next, and okay. That's back. Yeah.
I'm not going to tackle protocol. I'll just say, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm happy to be with you here this morning. I'd like to thank everybody who organized this event for inviting me to be with you today. Mine is a simple job of sharing an experience of Rwanda and a Gahaya Links perspective. I'm an entrepreneur, and my business focuses on export. I deal in fashion, home decor, and I'm a creative designer. Well, our company started way after 1994 genocide, established by myself and my sister Joy. I'm trying to be short, to be within time. We have in fact impacted over 4,000 artisans across our country, and all our products are handmade. The partners we have in Rwanda are cooperatives, majority of them being women in cooperatives and associations. And how we earmark those, we work with the grassroots leaders to look at the people that are really most in need, and then Gahaya Links goes forward to train them and in product development, and then go ahead and make products. We have a wide range of a product line. I tried to pull together whatever we have ever done before. We have a product line. As you look on the screen, you are seeing basketry. This is so traditional to Rwanda. So when we went back to Rwanda after 1994 genocide, myself, I grew up in Uganda. I was actually telling my colleague that my first childhood, I was in Uganda, so I am here and there. But the product line we started with was basketry, whereby we looked at a product that is not going to be stressful to the women. Based on the culture of Rwanda, most of the women never had a chance to go to school, meaning that they had to find something else to do in their leisure times, and that's how most mothers adapted the weaving of the baskets, passing them on to their daughters. So I started gathering raw materials for my mother at the age of 7. So basketry was the first thing that came in mind. The situation was hard after the 1994 genocide. The story is long. But one thing we focused on was saying, what do the women of Rwanda know? What can we teach them that is not going to be stressful to them? Because in this context, we had two challenges facing us. That was women who survived the genocide with highest trauma, women also who had trauma because their husbands and families are in prison, young girls heading households. But one of the centers that we looked at was starting with what they knew, and then working on the quality of the product, then innovating around the technique, creating products that can compete very well on the market. So as we went along, our first baskets were sold in Macy's since 2004. We've been doing with Macy's, with basketry in Macy's. But then as time went on, we looked at how can we diversify to remain in business and that's how we started using different techniques. As you can see, our product line, the jewelry line, is made out of woven earrings. Then we use the crochet technique that the women of Rwanda are good at. And then we use woven beads. So the weaving kept being our technique in whatever product that we are using so that we keep the women employed. So we had to train women to make woven beads, then make earrings, but the technique kept that one, and then we diversified into having a jewelry line. And as you know, ladies, fashion is the answer. Every year, every season, trends change. So when they change, you have to fit in within the trends, and that's how Gahaya Links try to innovate around the product. We have pretty number of good accounts right now. As you can see, we moved from jewelry, now we are into the clothing line. So we have a product line. Whatever we do, we make sure that we don't clash our clients. So when Macy's came in and took basketry, we said we are not going to offer baskets to another client. So we tried to create our niche. So we came up with a market, particular design for particular client. Anthropology is kind of bohemian, hippish. So we had to come up with products, but made out of what we can get. So we created a line for anthropology, which is what you see on the screen. Then we came up with Walmart. And this is a niche whereby we said, this is going to be volume. This is going to be time-taking. This is going to be a hassle. So when we went to Walmart, we had to look at the unique selling benefit of Rwanda. So every time we are looking at products, we are centering them on Rwanda and what we know. So our line in Walmart, as you can see, all the jewelry that we sell there has a component made in Rwanda, material bought in the market, and the weaving technique uniquely Rwandan. So we came up with what they don't do. We designed tie and dye, which anybody can do, but it's the way you do it that gives you the opportunity. So this is a line that we have in Walmart right now. Then, as you can see, this is our Macy's store. Every year, I do appearance in stores to promote and to introduce new products. Now, as we worked along, we found some of the women we had, especially women living with HIV, sometimes they don't deal with the products that are so stressful. So we had to come up with a strategy of saying which products can we design to a particular group. So we divided our products in three parts. One, we designed products for people living in the rural communities. Those are the people whom we call people who have land, who can have small gardens and grow crops and have, they can afford to have food at home. Then we have a category of landless people. Those are people living around the genocide villages in Kigali. We had to design products that will of highest turnover. So in the rural community, the turnover is not very high because they have other things to do. In Kigali, we have people who need highest turnover because these are women who pay house rents, who take care of their families and all, and so on and so forth. So when we are looking at the other designs, when you look at the product that we have in Same Sky, this is a pretty high-end product that retails at between $106 and $200. But this is one of the best-seller products whereby our women at least can earn about $100 a week, which, no, $50 a day, that's about $250 a week. This is the highest, but when you look at that brand, it's a brand that brought Gahaya Links up because who is who in the US is wearing talk about celebrities, first ladies, they're all wearing this line, and this is a crochet technique that the women of Rwanda learned way back. Now, we had also to come up with a design for Kate Spade New York. Kate Spade is a pretty high-end handbags ranging $4,000, $6,000, but as Rwandans, we wanted also to come in with a product that will suit in with the colors and trends of Kate Spade. So we designed bags that are now sold on Kate Spade, and then we designed the necklaces out of crochet that fits within her trends. Now we have volume in Sam's Club. Here we are using crochet technique and recycled paper beads. So recycling paper is all over Africa. So what we did, we had to intermarry with fashion had to put in things like Swarovski, crystals, but we normally zeroed it down to one product that has a unique Rwandan product, which is a product that has our woven beads, which nobody can do apart from the women of Rwanda. So normally we fit in within trends, as you can see. We have most, like this young lady appeared on American Idol, and I was shocked, people forwarding me a picture of a necklace I designed in Kigali, sold by anthropologists. So we have tried to fit in trends. We work so hard, but one of the things that had made us successful, was normally as a creative designer, you always have to think ahead. You have to be the think tank. You have to know the trends. You have to know the colors coming in. So you have to always be on your toes. You have to research. We subscribe to websites whereby you pay like $2,500 to know the trends coming in. Like now, I know 2014, and I'm already designing for that. And then we have partnered with so many designers, especially from New York, whereby most of the designers, sometimes it's like a way of providing jobs for them. They create a product, they give it to me. If I present and it goes through, I give you 10% commission. So that is a designer from New York. He's called Stephen Bucks. I met him because he saw me on TV in New York cab, and he looked for me. So when you do good things, ladies, people look for you. That's how I met Susan. Every time I sit, CNN calls me. I've never ever paid any promotion or money. So focus on good products. Advertisement will be free. When we did marketing, as you can see, every time I come to Macy's, Macy's pays all the TV stations to come and cover this. Nobody from Rwanda. But we have been in several magazines, and we have managed to do that because we actually don't compromise on quality. Gahaya Links' strength is quality, innovation, and then the amount of money you pay to the producers. We had a lot. We had stories of conforming with standards. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they say money moves the world, but standards actually plays a pivotal role in terms of moving the world. So we had a challenge of standards, but as you can see, what I need to tell you that whenever you are going to do with the standards, nobody will compromise. So our products, every time we ship our products, we have a story card that tells our story, who made the product, where it is made. We have branded our packaging, zeroed down to Rwanda, and this has really, proved us into the international markets. This is our warehouse while we are packing. For me, I'm not the boss. I am the part of the work. So when you own a business, ladies, you have to be part of it. You don't have to be a boss because you don't know what happens when you're not there. So you have always to be there for your business. Otherwise, people will do wrong things, and eventually you are the loser. So I'm always there. I work. I'm in my jeans every day, packaging, tagging. Nobody calls me a boss. I always tell them I'm an ordinary woman. I'm trying just to achieve extraordinary. What have we done? What is the impact? I know most of you will ask me about that. Gahaya Links has transformed the diverse people in Rwanda. When you feed one woman, as the ambassador Ed put it, you have fed the family, and you have really grown the economy of the country. So we have all our women. Number one, you have to have a savings account. So as time goes on, our women now are in banks. Every woman who works with us, we have so many things that they have to follow. Number one, you have to pay your health insurance and show us your card to be part of our group, because we know health is key in Rwandan families. Then women must have a savings account. Right now, most of our women are using ATM cards. We have moved to technology, much as they can't read and write, but our ATM are in Kinyarwanda. So we load them there and teach them how to withdraw and deposit money. That is one of the way of making the woman feel that she's economically independent. We have these women. We have provided jobs. Let me tell you, they employ people in their homes. So when she has an opportunity, she's rolling it down to a domestic worker, to somebody who supplies her raw materials, and you can imagine how many people are surviving on the small thing that you're doing. We have decreased the domestic violence. You know, in Rwanda, men in the villages don't work. A woman wakes up and says, oh, I need sugar, I need soap, and what you get is somebody shouting at you. Our women don't get that. Those who used to be beaten, now the man sees the woman bringing in the money. She's the bread earner, and in return she's respected. In the end, he started saying, Madam, how are you? Welcome back. And that's it. We have really, thank you. We have really impacted women living with HIV. One of the key part and passion of what I do is designing products for these ladies. Because, you know, we have so many who were gang raped, who got HIV in the normal way, but one of the things that I read that touch my hand is seeing these women surviving. So what we did was to make products for them, but one of the key challenges they had was taking medication without a good meal. So these are the women we follow up, see how much their blood count is. If it is going low, we actually go back and find out the reasons why. We have really made our women exposed. Every time I travel on a marketing trip, I carry an artisan who cannot read and write on a plane and sleep in good hotels, and that is one thing that exposure means if you are. So, as you can see, those are our women with their books. This is the leisure time at Gahaya Links. We no longer have women, you know, hiding, I'm sick. They interact. That group is a group that lives with HIV, but when you look at them, they're great, smiling. They have started small businesses. Let me tell you, when a woman earns money, she thinks about home. She thinks about family. She doesn't waste money. So most of the women we have invested in small businesses. They have bought motorcycles, employing their husbands and sons. They have started boutiques, employing people. It's pretty amazing. So the challenges of African women, as we are talking about coming to Canada to markets, even in Rwanda, is the entrepreneurial skills to meet the required standards. We still have so many women knocking at our doors. We actually need of designers who understand the market, and this year we plan to go to the EU market. It's possible, ladies. Any business of any size changes life. Thank you very much for your kind attention.